Hello, everyone. Welcome to I'd Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhound
Dr. Gloryhogg.
and we don't have Greg Dixon here today
No,
because
he's a Scrooge.
is he a
It's
Scrooge?
because he couldn't afford any of these games we're going to talk about today, so he was just
So he
like
just didn't come.
he
He's like, no
excused
thanks.
himself from the cast.
No, it's because Greg is super cool and he's like, oh man, I need to go to conventions instead of doing
He's
super
on
awesome
the
stuff with
what? The
you.
Dice Tower retreat, right?
Yeah, Dice Tower Retreat. So if he doesn't have any good stories for us whenever he comes back, he's out. He's out.
Yeah, I mean, I know his wife just got in Duelosaur Island, so I
I
mean, I
know.
guess we could go over there and play that with her
That's
without
true.
him.
That's probably what we should do is
We
just go
should
play
do that.
games without him. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. We got four super awesome games to talk about today. The first up is going to be Tainted Grail, and we'll get right into it here.
Tainted Grail, I
Tainted
want to.
Grail. Welcome back, Vincent. And we have, let's see here. Actually,
Hey,
I gotta
Vincent.
get my notes up here. I feel so unprepared all of a sudden.
I'm still
Okay.
mostly alive.
He's not dead yet,
Yeah.
basically. He's not
Been
dead
over
yet.
2 weeks and I'm still technically alive.
It's happening.
I don't eat, I just take antibiotics.
So, Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon is by Awaken Realms, and this is for 1 to 4 players. It's going to last about 120 to 180 minutes. So, I mean, they're showing around that 2 to 3 hour mark, I
Yeah.
think, on that
Yeah, for each chapter.
for each chapter. Yeah. So, this is a very, I think you said Gloomhaven esque game where you're
Oh, this is
going.
going to be compared to Gloomhaven
You
and
think
Seventh
so?
Continent.
You think so? I mean,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you get to level up your characters. You get a story driven game where you're placing down cards as sort of tile pieces that you're visiting, and then it's almost like choose your own adventure, like in which what you do affects the game as you move
Oh,
forward.
definitely.
Yeah.
I really like the different options you have in it where it's like you see something, you see like a tree, do you want to climb it? How do you want to climb it? Not just you see a tree, that's it. It's like what do you want to do now that you see it? So I think it's going to be compared with some really great games. It's God, it's going to be up there with the games that is probably talked about for the year. I'm surprised that it came out at the end of the year like this. Like,
Yeah, I mean, price wise, we're starting at $88 for this. So I
mhm.
think that they were hoping, okay, $88, and plus we have some really awesome names behind us because these are the same people that did Lords of Hella and The Edge, which are really
Yeah.
big box games with tons of minis and stuff
So they
and
have
have
the
really
experience.
great ratings on them. Yeah. So, like, me giving these people $88 or $139 at this time of year, it's actually a pretty safe bet. You're not like, oh, like, you're probably going to get your stuff on time. They've been through this gauntlet before with Kickstarters and stuff. They know what they're doing. And I thought it was really cool that they had like over 100,000 words in this storybook, basically. Yeah, and 1,000 cards, I believe. I don't know if it's
It's
updated to 1,200 cards, but yeah, I mean, you're getting a huge stack of cards which you are using as your land-based portion, which I like better than the Gloomhaven-esque style game because you have like that modular tile system.
yeah.
But this one, I almost like the fact that it's a little bit more compact and that you have more options to put down. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
and you explore like one card at a time, which is
Right.
kind of nice. With something like Gloomhaven, you can't really do that because it's big tiles and everything. This
Right.
one you really are flipping over. You're going to a card and then you flip it over.
It's, wowzers, yeah.
Yeah, it's the amount of work they put into this and
Yeah.
lore. I mean, it's kind of these games are getting to the point where they're like, hey, you want to play like Dungeons and Dragons an epic campaign by like a master storyteller? Do you want to do it without a DM? Like, that's kind of where these games are going. Where it's like, I feel like you could only get this type of experience playing a role playing game before. Where now with like a really good dungeon master, but now like you can actually do it in a game and you can play it more than once.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you are interested in a role playing esque style game, like this would be it because it's that branch between board games and RPGs where you get that sort of RPG experience where you're traveling through this, like big storyboard of stuff, and then you're making choices, and those are being influenced by different cards and stuff. And I really liked, I don't know if I said this, how they have diplomacy challenges in
Yeah.
this. So it's not just
It's not just
fighting
strength
and
checks.
tactical and stuff. Yeah, like they want you to inquire with diplomacy and try to figure out problems differently, which I thought was really, really cool.
And you're not just like tossing a bunch of dice out and going, "Oh no, we failed."
Right, right, exactly. And, it's a card based system instead of that dice rolling system, which
Right.
I don't like dice rolling systems very much. So this was like all win for me in
I
my
don't want
book.
dice rolling in a 3-hour game for sure.
Yeah, in a 3 hour game, 3 hours of dice rolling, I think I'm good with
Well,
that.
just if you lose because of a dice roll when you've been playing something for so long, it just,
It's super
yeah,
upsetting.
you just
Super
want to flip
upsetting.
the table.
I think that for me, the only drawback is the fact that each campaign is going to be 2 to 3 hours. Oh, yeah, we have Kitty today. We forgot to lock her up.
Well, she was asleep, literally.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is going to retail, I believe. I believe it is, but I'm assuming it's going to be marked up if it is.
Yeah, no, they said you'll get it cheaper now, and you'll
Yeah.
get some bonus exclusives that they won't be doing in the retail box.
Really, though, I mean, $88 for the first level of this on the core box and stuff, that is not that much. And I think that they minimize that specifically because instead of using the cardboard tiles, they're using these cards.
Yeah, I feel like it's really, it's gonna feel like this one. I feel like if you don't buy it, it's gonna feel like when we didn't buy Gloomhaven,
Right. Or when you didn't buy Seventh Continent,
and you just hear
like
about it, and you're like,
you're
"Oh
like,
my god,
oh,
I
I
have
just
to
want to
have
play
it."
this
I
game.
can't find it. It's like double the price on Amazon, triple the price, and you're just gonna really feel like you missed out. There's very few games that I feel like, oh my gosh, you're gonna really miss out if you don't actually get this game like now.
Right. And I really like Kabuki Kid's comment and the fact that of mentioning Seventh Continent because that's what I was thinking whenever we were looking at the cards in that story driven campaign based game and then you're flipping them over and stuff like that and that the cards are revealing things. That's immediately where my mind went to was like Seventh Continent meets like Gloomhaven with that because you have more character building abilities and stuff like that.
Well, generally, I'm anti-buying games like this that are so big and
So big
complex
and then you're
because
gonna
we have
break it
some that we
out two
haven't
to three
finished.
hours. Yeah.
Like we haven't finished all of Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have the time right now to play big 3-hour games constantly. But I
People are
will
having
say,
super FOMO with this one.
but with this one, like
All the FOMO,
I,
guys.
I feel like I feel like we have to get it.
I think so. So there's a reason why this is backed for like I don't know.
It's like 3,000%. It's something stupid.
I think it hit the million mark, 3 million.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
crazy.
crazy. There's a reason why because you have great manufacturer behind this, you have great pieces, you have a great story-driven tale. Like this is I don't know. For me, I'd back this, guys. I'm gonna go right in and say I'd back this,
Well,
100%.
usually I'm the naysayer when you start getting close to like $100 and stuff, but I feel like you can't skip this one. And then it's Arthurian legends too. So it's like, who doesn't know about, the Knights of the Round Table and the different things and the way it works with like, you've got the weird that's like encroaching on the towns and you're like not even like heroes. You're just like the misfits of town. You're
Yeah,
just
I like that too. That you're the
you
misfit.
get picked
so.
because you have like a Warhammer. Like, you're like that guy that like bought a Warhammer like on Black Friday and they're like, well, since you have a hammer, I guess you should go. Even though
Well,
you're
I
like
mean,
not the strongest.
you are carrying around that hammer all the time, so I mean.
Well, like the hammer guy literally has like a festering wound, so he's injured. He's like the Black Knight. He's like, "'Tis a scratch," and he's like, dying a
I
little
got
bit.
this.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'll just fight anyways because there's just nobody left. You are kind of the bottom of the barrel, and not in a comedic way, like in a oh crap way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of games have done it in a comedic way where you're like, oh, you're not so good heroes, but yeah, I mean, you're just kind of like we're the last line of defense. We're
Right.
at the point where we're like, women and children grab pitchforks.
So yeah, would you back this?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think this is right up everybody's alley. Like I said, there's a reason why it's already hit amazing goals and stuff. It's going to be an amazing game, guys. I'm super excited about this one. But I have to say, it's really unfortunate that our next one came out right around the same time as this one because they're two very heavy story driven campaigns
Yes.
here. And so this is Cultistorm. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I love the fact that Cultistorm, they are envisioning this as one whole set. Like they have one price for this game. They're going to give you everything that's there. If they start unlocking things, they're just going to give you those because they're like, this game we want to be a full experience. and we don't want to take away from that, so we're just going to do everything at like one price.
Right. They're not trying to nickel and dime you. They're literally like, this is what we want to do, and we just need the funding to get there.
Right. And I mean, they went and they created a giant book with a bunch of stories in it as
Like
well.
10 plus authors that
Right.
wrote short stories for each of them.
I
So it kind of
know.
reminds me of like, kind of like a Morrowind, or like, like one of those RPGs you play like online or something, where like you can get a huge backstory on each character, and you
Yeah.
can just get lost in the side stories
Right.
of the different
Absolutely.
characters that you're fighting that should just be a random NPC.
And I really like that they went through and they're making the music and stuff for it. Like they're doing a
Oh yeah.
score and stuff for this. So like you play the music, which that's one of the games. What's the game? Tales of Evil, or what is it?
A Touch of
A
Evil
Touch of Evil
has a
that
soundtrack.
I loved.
Uh-huh.
When you play that game, you put in the soundtrack and then it gets you in the mood of the game, and that's more of like an RPG storytelling sort of game where you're going
It's
through.
very thematic.
Yes, super thematic, and I love that about this.
Not all games need a soundtrack, obviously, but there are some games that can honestly be enhanced a lot by it. And I think since this is a mood and a narrative game, definitely having like that soundtrack in the background, kind of giving you that overall creepy, like despair feeling,
Yeah.
that madness is creeping on you. Um, I don't see how it can go wrong. I mean,
Right.
honestly.
And Kabuki Kid is right. This is usually such a terrible time to launch Kickstarters. So
Yeah, I was
Kickstarters are
surprised.
going to be a little light, but I was
I
surprised.
thought we would be scraping to find stuff that would be like in this range.
There
I
are
thought
some
we'd see a
super
bunch of
killer ones.
I
though,
thought we'd
this
see a bunch of
month.
card games and like
Yeah.
$50 games and stuff like that. But this is a really really nice game, and the box is amazing. That box, that
Oh
plastic
my
molded.
gosh, the
I think it's plastic molded.
It's going to be plastic molded and stuff
It
that
looks
they're going to have everything
amazing.
in. I love that.
If you
Well,
are a Cthulhu fan, I think this might be like one of the best Cthulhu games.
I think so. Yeah,
If you're
because
if
you're
you're a
going to have
person that
that
read like the
huge
books and
story
everything.
behind it, and then the gameplay is cooperative. So it reminds me a lot of the what is it? The what we just played. It had cards in it, and it was along the same lines.
Mountains of Madness.
Not Mountains of Madness. Dang it. I'm like tongue tied today with games. We just got it's like an Arkham Horror style game with just cards.
You're talking about Arkham Horror, the card game.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
So Arkham Horror, the card game, where you're going through, and whenever you look at the cards, you get to flip them over and you get to read like a story and stuff.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that, except like bigger and like more thematic. And I loved the Arkham Horror card game because
Yeah.
although the fighting was kind of like minimal and you're like exploring things, it was more about the exploring of things and the reading of
There's
the
more
story.
challenges, right? Like
Yeah.
because you were getting
And
challenged mentally that you wouldn't freak out and just like run into a wall.
that's exactly what this is. This is like an expanded version of that. Like, hey, we're going to have a soundtrack. We're going to have writers writing a story for this game. Like, this is going to be a full immersive experience as you're playing it, you know? So Vincent says a lot of people are dropping to $5 to try and get it relaunched. Absolutely. I hope this game. I think they're not quite at their goal yet. I think they have what 25.
No, they're fairly
Oh,
close.
okay, so they have 78,000 to go. This was a tough launch with
They do
the-
have 30 days to go though, so like maybe
the
they're
Tainted
hoping
Grail.
that maybe
That's
they're
true.
hoping that you'll get money for Christmas and then you'll use it to get into this game.
Yeah. Well,
I can see that being something.
I think it was just unfortunate for them to launch two super heavy-based story games
Right, 'cause
at
you
once
kinda-
like this. Because
You do feel like you have to pick, and Tainted Grail seems like you're gonna get. It's a theme I want to get into more.
I was going to say there's
than,
two different themes.
than Lovecraft.
Yeah,
But not that I don't like Lovecraft, but there's just I'd rather be more into the Arthurian legend. I don't have a lot of games like that.
And I think that's kind of where the line might be drawn here is that the medieval legends and stuff is such. I mean, everybody seems to love that sort of thing, where I
Mhm.
think the Lovecraft
Well, with
sort
it,
of theme
with it going
is-
public domain, there's just been a lot of Lovecraft the
right,
last 2-3
exactly. And I
years.
think people get burnt out and they're like, oh, another Lovecraft thing. So
right,
I
it's
think
like
that
when
there's
Walking Dead and zombies.
Yeah.
There's just everything was zombies, and doesn't mean it's not good, but you just get to the point where you're like, I don't need another zombie game or something.
right. And I think that's the two things that are hurting this is
Yeah.
the last Kickstarter we just looked at and the fact that it is a Lovecraft theme. But I couldn't see this as any other theme, though.
No, I think it's
Like, it
amazing,
fits
and we have
perfectly
friends
for it.
like Dave that are super into the mythos, and I feel like
Yeah.
this is 100% up his alley. It's
Right.
definitely it's a display piece. When you buy this game, you're going to put it up on your shelf to show your friends, And if you like Lovecraft, I think you're going to like this game. And you should still back it, even if they don't relaunch it or whatever. I think it's going to be a good game. I just think if I
But
had to
that
choose
box,
between the
yeah.
two.
That box is killer. Super killer. When I saw this and I saw the box, I was like, oh, okay, it's just, something that they're showing off for this. And they're like, no, we're going to give you this giant plastic badass looking box. And I was like, what?
Yeah, no, it
Like,
is amazing.
that's amazing. Like, I can't believe they're doing that. This is going to be something that
I'd
you
put my jewels in
it's
there,
going to be a coffee table
my
piece
family
is what
jewels.
it's going to be. So you can display this as well as have it as your game,
Yeah. No, I agree. It's something that you put out in the middle of your game table.
Necronomicon boxes. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. I love the Evil Dead. Well, would you back this game though? So the price wise on this is $139, which you're looking at the same sort of thing for Tainted Grail, which was 88 to that 139. Yeah. So both like 139 if you're getting all the bits for it. Because if you want all the stuff for Tainted Grail, that's what you're going for.
Right. You can get into it cheaper though.
With this one, I believe they also unlocked like a solo game story though too, which is kind of cool. Because if you're playing a story game, you also have that solo option. That's always nice as well.
Right. No, it definitely is because sometimes they're almost better solo or low player counts.
Oh, the other thing that I thought was hurting this campaign though is the fact that you don't have any really great videos that show gameplay.
Oh, right, because it's made by a foreign group, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Like from overseas, and so they don't really have like any English reviews. They have some stuff in English, but it's obviously not their. It's
AJ
obviously
Richardson.
yeah.
I like how your wife just filters
My
out the
family
bad
jewels
jokes.
joke. Yeah, it's they just didn't have a lot of reviewers into it, and now I know that I'm coming from a perspective of being somebody that typically reviews or previews games and talks about games, right? So obviously I like that. But I look to that, and I look to people that I know that have a solid track record and go, yeah, I kind of typically like the same games they do. If they're excited about it, maybe I should look into it more. Without that, you're kind of like, how much research do I want to put into this? Like, do I want to follow these links? Do I want to read the rule book? And I think the biggest thing is just it's competition and the time of year. I wasn't planning on spending any money from
I
this
wasn't
point
either. In
on till
December, I was like,
after.
nah, we're not going to back
No,
anything
I
in
mean, we're at the
December.
point where
But,
I'm like, there's like one little like $30 game I want to get when it releases in December, and that's it. And
right.
we were going to just wait till after Christmas because we might get gifts and Christmas money and who knows what else. So I wasn't planning on kickstarting anything else for the rest of the year. And yeah, Tainted Grail, I think we have
Yeah.
to.
Well, and Gerald says that he's kind of meh on the theme for this one, which, like we had said before, yeah, that Cthulhu based theme, it's just been overplayed. And I think that those are the few things that are hurting this campaign
Right,
on
I
why
still
they're
would
not
I
reaching
would
their
argue
goal.
it's probably not going to be it's not going to be a disappointing
I
game
don't think so at all.
if
I
you
think it
like
looks
the mythos.
amazing. Yeah.
But you're right, we've done almost a Cthulhu game every week.
Yeah.
For a while there, it was
It seems
every
like
single
it
week.
every
It
single
seemed
week
like
where
there
we're getting it.
was
Yeah.
a Cthulhu themed game somehow, or some type of madness game.
I'm going to say that for this particular one, I would back that. But for all of these, I am going to have to make serious choices. And if I have to make a choice between this one and the other one, I'm probably going to go for Tainted Grail as opposed to this one just because I feel like that particular theme. I mean, more people are going to play it, maybe, but I don't know. Tainted Grail is 2 to 3 hours, where I think these ones are a little bit shorter. You're in that like hour range with it.
That might be true.
So 75 to 120 minutes.
It's
So yeah, you're
definitely
really cutting the
shorter.
time on that.
Yeah, it's definitely shorter. I feel like I could see myself getting into this one if I got like a sudden windfall, like
Vincent's
surprise
wallet
Christmas bonus
needs a
or something.
relaunch. I totally
Yeah,
get
Kickstarters are
that.
getting out of control.
There's too many good Kickstarters out, guys. I love
It's a good
everything
problem
they
to
put
have though.
behind
So what you
this.
got to do is you got to get together with your gaming group and be like, okay, we'll do Tainted Grail.
Yes.
You do this one. You do
Yes,
Cultistorm.
that's the best way to do it. Is you get a group of friends together and you guys are like, all right, you back this Kickstarter, we'll back this Kickstarter, and then
Yeah.
we'll all play together because we have to play all these games anyways. So
Right.
guys,
It's true. I mean, we've kind of started doing that.
right? I think that the gameplay on this one is gonna be lighter, of course, than Tainted Grail, but like I said, I'd
I
back
think either
this.
one of these is going to be
This is
immersive.
a solid piece. This is a solid game. Just bad timing, and I wish I could see a little bit more play on this.
Like I said, we get that Christmas bonus.
There you go.
Let's throw it on the fire.
That's
Let's
what
do
we're
it.
waiting for. With this one, I think we have
Christmas
plenty of days
bonus.
though for it. I think they still have 35 days
Right.
or
Like I
something. You
won't
said,
even look at
yeah.
this one again until after Christmas. And
Probably. That's
if we
probably
start,
actually a
if we
good.
get a lot of gift cards this year, it could
Then
be
boom.
reality.
Then we're gonna
Or
back
Tainted
that
Grail, I'm like, you need to like charge it now.
right now. Okay. Moving on, we have War for Chicken Island. Let me just say right off the bat, the chicken video here, although cute, was incredibly annoying to a certain point where I was like, oh my god, I can't handle these chicken noises anymore, and I turned it off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like I mean, it was cute, but like you could have not done chicken voice throughout the entire video.
I can see that. I mean, it's subtitles at least and
this
everything.
this game though has the most adorable miniatures in it. Like the little chickens going into the mechs and stuff like that it's completely comedic. It's completely a gateway game. Like what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a good parody game, right? Like it's a war game, but like funny, kind of like the idea behind like Angry Birds, where it's like, it's a strategy game or whatever you would call Angry Birds. It's a
I like
time waster
this right
game, but
here where as you're beginning the game, you're actually placing the tiles down and you're
yeah,
making
you get to
that map.
build.
Yeah, because that it's such an interesting idea because if you're thinking about starting in a certain area and stuff, you can try to set up a map to make things better for you, which I kind of think is cool,
Right.
Like that's really
Well, with
interesting.
skirmish games, you definitely want to have that. I mean, and it's hard. It's
That
a
ups the
parody game. It's supposed to
replayability of it.
be fun and a funny way of playing like a war game, and so you should be able to play it with younger kids, older kids, your family. I mean, it's supposed to be just a good time. It kind of reminds me of like that kind of like asking for troubles type of game where it's like so lighthearted and fun. I think the big thing with this is like if you're not gonna go for the miniatures, it really loses a lot of its value to me
I think so too.
because the miniatures are what are really selling me on this one.
I like that they have both options
Right, especially at
for base
Christmas
game without
or
miniatures.
holidays.
Yeah. And then, the game with the miniatures. So if you want to do either or, if you're not fully invested in getting those miniatures and stuff, I really like that. You're going to be getting 30 miniatures for the game though. So that price of like $57 for all the miniatures and everything that's like a very reasonable price.
Vincent makes a good point. We should just mix the two. So Chicken Island and Tainted Grail. So you could just replace the weird monsters that come out with giant chickens
Oh my
that
gosh,
are attacking you in like
that's
mechs.
amazing.
Yeah, I could see that being a good crossover. They should talk about
Instead of the
licensing.
frost giant, you get the mecha chicken
Yeah.
dragon.
You go into the hey, when you go into the mist, weird things happen. All right, weird things happen in the mist.
So, as I was looking into the gameplay for this particular game here, I like how they have it so you're not actually dying in the game. You're just like giving each other like bad marks.
Right. There's no player elimination, so it's not like
right.
the two of us gang up on the third person and take them out.
Because I think if this was a player elimination game, I probably would not like it because the board is so small and then you're like trying to hit each other so fast and stuff and it's mostly a dice game where you're rolling dice to get materials and stuff and to use different items and everything. And then not territory control, but you're trying to maneuver yourself
Right,
and
it's
your
like a skirmish game.
yeah, to get things, to kill people. Well, not kill people, but give them bad honor. But I liked that part because you're not kicking people out of the game as you're playing.
Right. It's kind of like
Because
the
I feel like it
idea
would be
behind.
too short otherwise.
Well, it's kind of like the idea behind Arcadia Quest, where you're not killing the other players. You're kind of like making fun of them and making them look bad in front of their
Chickens get
house.
stuffed.
But I mean, it's a good idea because when you're playing a skirmish game and you're playing, especially if you're playing a 3-player, it does end up becoming a 2-on-1 situation a lot of times. And then if you're that first person out, you're bored the rest of the time they're playing.
Right, exactly. So I think that it was really wise of them to make this so you're just putting flags on people and stuff. And this is not, although it's a skirmish game, it's not a super tactical skirmish game. It's just like it's very Ameritrash is what this is. This is an Ameritrash game, which is not a bad thing. It's heavy theme, lots
Ameritrash, you
of
say.
lots of dice. I know. He's like, "Oh, yes." Heavy heavy theme, lots of dice rolling, lots of just like a Super Smash Brothers game, lots of just
Yeah,
running
crazy
around and
mayhem.
smashing people in the head basically. And but the rules are easy enough that it can be a gateway game into that skirmish and tactical sort of board game, you know? So I think they did a really good job with this. I've actually been looking at this for a while, but there were too many other good ones that had come up, and then I was like kept on putting this one off, so I was really happy to actually finally get this in here. So excited.
I think it looks good. I mean, I would definitely want to play it. I think before I would buy it, just because of the price point for it. And with a parody game, you got to make sure it's good enough that you're going to want to play it over and over and again.
Yeah.
Because eventually, what happens is like the joke becomes less funny, and then you're stuck with like a
Then
game
you're
where you're like,
stuck with the game. You're
yeah.
like,
Now this one with the miniatures,
actually,
I
we
feel
don't
like
like
I would
chickens
play with
here.
the miniatures like more than the game itself, maybe. So I don't know. For me, it's definitely a play before I buy, but I can see that. I will say that I feel like it's a game that people will probably enjoy
Yeah. Well,
if you like a skirmish game.
okay.
It's not Warhammer. It's
Would you back this though?
no. I would want to play it first. I
You'd
think.
want to play it
Hmm.
first. Okay. So here's my thing with backing this game for this particular game. Since I am a heavy, I guess, tactical, strategic player, for me, this game is probably not a match because it looks quick, like to the
It's
point,
probably too
lots of
light for
dice
you.
rolling. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. This
Yeah.
game is too light for me. If you want a fun, light game, then this game is probably for you, but I'm not going to back that just because this is not a game for me. I
Yeah.
think, though, if you're just getting into the Kickstarter market and you're just getting into board games and stuff and you're trying different things, this is probably a really fun option for you, you know?
They like your hat. It's like
Oh.
the snaps in a Z formation. Definitely. We watched the movie
Oh,
Color.
that's fantastic. That's so long ago. I don't know if everybody's going to get that. Hey, Daniel, how are you doing? So, yeah, I'm going to have to say for this particular one, they have a lot of really great stuff here. I love the miniatures. They're amazing. If this game is for you, I would totally back that. But for me in particular, since
I'm
I'm a heavy,
interested. I just don't think I'm
yeah,
backing it right now because, like I said, honestly, I didn't think I'd back anything at all
I
until
actually
end of the
think
year.
that you would enjoy this game more so than I would.
Right? Because you have a harder time with lighter games where I can play lighter games and still enjoy them for what they are.
Right, right. All right, moving on. We got our last one today. Let me see here. It's called Chai.
Ch-ch-ch-ch-ch.
So, this was a really interesting game. This was a surprise for me because sometimes when you're looking at Kickstarters and you see games that are kind of formed in this way where they have really cutesy like art and just like the look of this, how they were taking the pictures and stuff, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is going to be like all theme and no like no game, you know?" But then as I actually started going into this and like looking at it and looking at the gameplay and stuff, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is actually like a well put together game. Like I'm actually really excited about this." And how they have this ingredient board here where you can make combinations off of stuff. Like I really thought that was cool because as you're moving things down and you get a combination of ingredients in a certain spot, you can pay one, or 2 coins or whatever it is, and then take all those ingredients, which
Right.
I thought was really, really cool. So I was really enthralled by the mechanics of this game after looking at it and thinking, oh, this is just going to be like a basic campaign for like a little game, fun little game. But no, like the mechanics were really solid, I thought. It reminds me of a couple of, what is it? We had microbrew on here
Yeah, it
where
does
you're trying to get like these customers
similar
for
ideas.
drinks and
Hmm.
stuff. Yeah. Except microbrew was more like puzzly, where this seems a little bit lighter and more combo
Well,
ish.
this is
So
probably in that category of Azul or Reef or kind of like where
like
it's
a little
got
abstract
gameplay.
combo-ness
Right,
to
like
it.
it's got like it's got deep gameplay to it, but it is a lighter concept overall. So it's like should be easy to get, but still challenging if you're playing with other gamers.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of falls right into that category. Yeah, it does have some aspects that kind of remind me of Microbrew, but that's just because we played Microbrew a decent amount and
Quite a
stuff.
few times,
Hmm.
yeah. Uh, but like I said, I really like how those ingredients move down. It becomes like a combo game. Like I really like combo games where you can strategically plan. Okay, if somebody takes this, 'cause I see them over there with their cards over there and stuff, then I can just wait one more turn and then go in and scoop everything up. Like I'm super down with that. And I mean, what did I have for? There was something that I had about this. So the price on this is $50.
This is a good price.
It's a good price, yeah. And at first I was like, why is this game so much? Because I was thinking it was going to be like cardboard pieces and stuff, but no, the tiles are wooden tiles.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, and you're getting, as I was looking down, you're getting like these really awesome teacups and stuff in the set. So it's not like they're just like, all right, $50, a bunch of cardboard in there, like have fun. No, like they went through and did a lot of really cool stuff with this game as I was
And I
going
know
through and
like
looking
the
at it.
upgraded version comes with like metal coins
Yeah, so but
for like $9.
yeah, and that's what the upgraded version does is it gives you metal coins on top of like their little mini tea set and all sorts of cool stuff that they have going on in this box here. Now this is for 1 to 5 players and it lasts about 20 to 60 minutes on this game here. Let me go down to the teacups.
Got Eric Higgins watching.
Oh yeah.
That's a special treat. It's the Hig.
What is it? Okay, so these oh no, that's not a good view of the teacups here.
Come on, get your act
I know, I'm
together.
so sorry. I'm so sorry, guys.
So many games to cover.
I know. As I was so you get 5 teacups and your little wooden tokens and stuff like that. Like I don't know. Like if you're including those items, I feel like $50 is a good price.
Yeah, I honestly feel like this is going to be like an Azul type game. Like, if you liked Azul, you'll probably like something like this.
Mhm.
It's kind of like in that kind of like gateway-ish type of game where you could explain to
Yes.
people that aren't necessarily like super heavy gamers. It's going to be kind of like that medium weight where it can be easily accessible, but also has some, some strategy to it. And it's just really going to matter if you like the theme or not. I
It's
think
going to
that's the big
be
thing.
well, it's going to be an easy teach for players. So because the mechanics are not very hard. So you
Right.
could teach it to anybody, but I feel like there's going to be a lot more depth if you're playing with people who have played before because as you're
Well, it gets more
choosing
cutthroat.
right, exactly. It becomes more
Start
cutthroat
blocking
because you're
people and stuff.
exactly. You're blocking people from certain ingredients by choosing things differently
You're going to
or
hate draft that thing. You're like,
exactly. You're going to hate
oh,
draft
do you
your
need a
ingredients.
strawberry? Nope, that's my strawberry.
We're separating all these strawberries. You're never going to get a strawberry this
Oh, do I
entire
have the
game.
market on vanilla? Guess none of your customers are getting drinks.
Or you try to take
Boom.
somebody's customer before, from the center
Oh,
of the
yeah.
table before them and stuff like that. I could see this
We take
having,
games to the next level.
yeah, different levels of depth with the people that you end up playing with this game. So I was like super pleasantly surprised by this from initially looking at it and going, oh, okay, this is your basic game. And then I was like, no, 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 this is like a really interesting game here.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I fell with it. So would you back this?
No.
No?
Because, theme is really important for me. That's always something I always really
You're not
stand
into the
on.
theme. Okay. Well, you
The-
are
the-
that
the theme is
Ameritrash
okay.
player. You love the themes.
Right, the theme is okay. I feel like it's going to kind of fall into that Azul category. So for me, that means I'm going to pick it up at retail probably later on a whim more than I'm going to go out of my way to kickstart it.
Vincent is saying that he's English, so tea is super important. This
Well,
is
I like
super
this.
important
I
theme
liked-
for the UK.
I don't mind the tea theme necessarily, but I'm not like excited to make tea. I'm not like, yeah, it's not like I'm fighting back the mist and like, crazy undead knights are coming after me.
And then you're just there
and all I've
drinking
got
your
is my
tea.
blacksmith hammer. You're making tea. So, I mean, I know I'm wearing a pretty princess, kind of tiara.
Okay, so
Sierra.
here's what I was talking about actually. Okay,
But I don't
here's
wanna
the
make tea.
Tea Master edition here.
Oh,
Which
that
comes with
$250 one?
yeah, which comes like with a full tea set and stuff,
it's
and
crazy.
like laser cut tiles.
They
like
come
all
to your
sorts of
house
crazy
and give
stuff.
you a biscuit. I mean, it's pretty intense.
They sit next to you and just dip your biscuit in your tea for you
Yeah.
while you play the game. That's what you get
They
when
make
you
you a
become
doily, I
master
guess?
tea maker. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be kind of in that that range of a game that like I could see picking it up at some point in time, but I don't feel the need to go out of my way to pledge this now because I have to have it. Or something like Tainted Grail, I feel like if I don't get it now, I'm gonna regret it.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's why I say no. Doesn't mean I wouldn't pick it up later, if I get it on a discount or I see it in a store and we're looking to buy something because we want to try something new. And I wouldn't be sad to get it as a gift, but I don't feel the need to just like run out there and get it like immediately today.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I'd back that because I like the intricacies of the mechanics that are going on here. And I like that it can technically scale with the different players that I play with. You know, if I'm teaching
It's
people who haven't
right.
played
It's always good
before
to have a
through
couple games like that.
right, exactly. I
That you
really
can
like
introduce
that.
to your mom or to your gamer friends. You know,
Right.
that kind of in between.
Right. But this week's lineup
FOMO.
was super crazy. You
It's
know,
way too
like
intense for it to being this close to
it
Christmas.
really
Like
is.
or
So
I mean, it's the holidays, so people are buying gifts. So I get that, but like, people are broke. Like, we've spent money on buying gifts. Like, we're broke. I don't have money for
oh,
this.
that's right. That's right. I think this
But
one
like,
has like
Tainted Grail is one
24
that I'm
days
like,
or
hold on, let
something.
me get one of those MasterCard things we got in the mail and just signing this bad boy up.
So I
We
think
just got ourselves a new credit card to get Tainted Grail.
this one has another 24 days to go and stuff. So if you want to wait until you get all those gift cards in and stuff like that, it's
Yeah.
definitely feasible. You can do that. Like you could always wait on this one, but I think out of the four that we had today, if I had to choose one absolute that I was going to back today, it would definitely be Tainted Grail. But I still like Cultistorm and Chai. Like
Yeah.
those were right up my alley.
I could see getting any of these games this week.
This was a strong week for December, guys. Like, how is this so
But the
strong
only
in
one, if
December?
you asked me today and you said we can only get one, I would go all in
We
on
go
Tainted Grail.
all in on
Yeah.
Tainted Grail, and the numbers show that. You know, I mean, that's what people are choosing, and they're going all in on Tainted Grail right now. But I think that once that ends, the other Kickstarters will kind of see an uptick in their sales with that.
Probably. I mean, Tainted Grail is just going crazy. I really hope it's going to be like the next, Gloomhaven, Seventh Continent type hype game.
Absolutely. Well, we didn't back Lords of Hella, and
I regret that.
every time I walk past that game, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, why didn't I back that? It looks so
Well, and
amazing.
same thing with Gloomhaven.
Like,
I remember when Gloomhaven did their second printing, like I messaged you from work and I was like, "Hey, Gloomhaven's
get
doing a
on
second
that.
printing back," and we backed it like day one because we'd already heard so many good things about it. We'd seen it played. It was like we have to get it.
Well, and that's the worst thing is whenever you do end up missing a great Kickstarter, you know, and like I think the first Gloomhaven run,
We missed
we
it.
were in a group of games like this where we had four different games
Well,
that
like the
we were
same thing
trying
with
to
Scythe.
look at,
We had just
and we
like
had to pick a different one, you know, because you can only pick so many. And I think we went with Cool Mini or Not or something that time. So I
right. I
think
mean, I
backed
don't
one of theirs
regret the
instead.
decision, but yeah, I mean sometimes if you're going like $200 into Arcadia Quest or something, then you kind of like I can't do another 130 right now or something.
Right, exactly. So, thank you so much for joining us today, guys. I hope that it was super informational for you. We love your comments. Thank you so much for commenting on
Yeah,
everything
let
and
us know
talking
what
with
games
us.
you guys are gonna back. I mean, besides
Absolutely.
Tainted Grail, I'm pretty sure most people are
Besides
gonna.
Tainted Grail.
Pretty much everyone's gonna do that. I'm gonna have to make sure that Greg's not backing it because I don't want to double back it. I have a good feeling our buddy Alex will probably back it.
That's right. So let us know what you guys are backing. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified whenever we are doing stuff. Because sometimes we just randomly do stuff like play games together.
Right, or
and
like open up
everything.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
for example,
Ooh.
show this off here.
So Skybound just sent us
We got this today.
Yeah, it's the Walking Dead Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Like, super excited to open that. And, you know, we'll share with all of you guys. That's what we'll do.
If you, yeah,
Yeah, you can tune
Sure.
in and we'll share.
Sure. We'll share. But I mean, like when we get stuff like this in, like we didn't even know this was coming. This was a surprise to us.
Yeah.
But when we get stuff like this in, we try to open it up and show it to people so they can kind of see what we've got and kind of so they can make their own decisions on what we got and
Absolutely.
decide if it's for them. Because not every game is going to be for everybody, and you can't buy every single game. I've tried, you can't.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us too, Connie. Like I'm really excited about Chai, you know. It's a fantastic looking game. And
It'll end up in our collection
definitely
at some point.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us and you guys have a wonderful weekend. Be safe for the holidays and we will see you guys all next week.
Play more games.
Play more games.
Follow me at DrGloryHogg.